Hey everyone, once again, and welcome back to another movie review, and back reviewing another action film. Um, Now with this action film, I really do enjoy, and I don't understand why it gets hated on sometimes though. But I don't understand though. But I think this is an extremely fun film, and I also think it's also kind of underrated at times because it's a film that stars Dolph Lundgren, because I enjoy Dolph Lundgren. Um, which I like a lot of his direct-to-video films. To me, he still has a better track record. It's like with him and Jean-Claude Van Damme. Other ones still have a better track record than Steven Seagal. And this one, I would say it's also one of my favorite films with Dolph Lundgren. And it also stars Brandon Lee as well. And this is the fun action film Showdown Little Tokyo. Released in the year 1991, which is the year I was born. 1991, and I don't know. I don't know. Stutter my words again. I don't get why this film bombed. Well, it bombed because it was given like a limited release and a very limited amount of theaters. And that's why the film didn't do that well. But for this film that has such a lots and lots of action, I don't understand why. I mean, it's fun. It's also a very short film as well. It's very fast paced. Passenger 57, which I just reviewed, this film is much shorter and it's much faster paced and much more faster than Passenger 57. I like this a lot more than Passenger 57, but regardless, I still like Passenger 57 more. Any less though, because I still enjoy the film. It's a good action film with Wesley Snipes. But this is just easily so fast paced, like from beginning and then to the end, it's done. And it's directed by Mark L. Lester, which is the same guy who directed Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I enjoy Commando, and I get that kind of feel for Commando because of all the over the top action and stuff like that, though. But I kind of get a little bit of sense of that in this film, and good casting. Dolph Lundgren, Brendan Lee, they both played off each other very well together in this film. They did such an excellent job. Great with Brendan Lee, may he rest in peace. It's just, and when everything brings up, it's The Crow and all that. Which I'll review The Crow sometime later, though, but not now. It just still sucks this day about what happened to Brendan Lee. He was just a rising star, and then all of a sudden his life was cut short. So, yeah, I miss Brendan Lee, and just definitely I would say it's just such an enjoyable film for working with Dolph Lundgren. And yeah, the film bombed badly. It had $8 million budget and made $2 million because of its limited release, which I don't get. I don't get which I don't get. Why give films like these like limited releases? Why not just give a full wide release? I don't understand why such films should be given limited releases. I don't know why. Well, anyway, yeah. But how the story goes, Dolph Lundgren plays Kenner. He's a cop who in his background that he was raised in Japan and his parents were killed, and he gets teamed up with a new partner named Johnny, played by Brendan Lee, and they out to kick a lot of ass, and they help stop this drug lord. Basically, that's all the gist of it is. And how the film opens up is just when Dolph Lundgren, he gets this where there's like this fight, and he comes in, just there's a shootout and a lot of fighting, and then by the next day, he's in this little Japanese restaurant, and the same guys from the other night come in. And actually one of the bad guys in the film is actually, I forget the guy's how the guy's name is, but he's actually the guy who was from the first and the second Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film. He was like the guy who was like the associate to Shredder, in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, how Casey Jones, like, beats him with a golf club and goes, four, sends him flying, and he says, when he's telling Sam Rockwell, he's like, you call this, and that, down there, family? That's the guy from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Japanese guy who the Lycosis hit with the golf club, calls that down there, family. Yeah, he's actually, so that guy, he's one of the bad guys, one of the main bad guys, I should say. But the lead bad guy is played by Cary-Hiroyuki Tagawa, and he's been in a lot of films I recognize. He plays Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat. He was actually also in Rising Sun with Sean Connery and Wesley Snipes. I know there was another film I've seen him in. I forget though. I know I've seen him in other films though, but yeah. But I mostly remember from those two films. And I think he was a good bad guy in this, and definitely enjoyed him in Mortal Kombat as well. Flawless victory. Yeah. And he was the guy who killed Dolph Lundgren's parents. And get into that part though. But we get into the fight in the restaurant, and Dolph Lundgren's like. This one has another thing. Not only has lots of good action and humor to it, it has also funny lines of dialogue too. Dolph Lundgren saying, if I don't have my breakfast, I get grumpy. Don't want to see that. And he beats the shit out of these guys, and then Brendan Lee comes in, which the first with Dolph Lundgren and him, they don't know they're cops until they identify themselves as. So, and as those places also take place in Little Tokyo in Los Angeles. So so Brendan Lee's a new partner. They team up to partner up with him, and then they get at this party. There's this party where the bad guys are, and there's like this one girl who kind of like said something about like the guy's operation, and says she'll do anything, and that the bad guy Cary Hiroki Harkitu, I forgot how to pronounce his name. Tagawa. kind of like he's kind of like stripping the girl down and kind of groping her a bit, but actually just distracting. Where he gets the katana sword and goes and just decapitates the girl. It's quick and fast though, but you see that she actually goes and decapitate her, cuts her head off. So, yeah, and it's like, oh wow, cuts her head off, wow. And also we get a fair amount of nudity in this film as well, just to let you know. But they find the dead girl, and they go to this club, and they find there's this other girl who was with that was talking with the girl earlier. This girl's played by Tia Carrere. Once again, I mispronounce the name. And she sings and talking with them, where they get into this fight with more bad guys. Brendan Lee showing his martial arts, and he's doing flips, and Dolph Lundgren kicks more punches, takes one of those trays and hits one guy with it, and till they get taken to the lead bad guy, Cary-Hiroyuki Tagawa, and it also shows that he's the guy who killed Dolph Lundgren's parents, and Dolph Lundgren puts a gun to him, and then Brendan Lee, he pulls out his badge. It's like, I'm a cop, it's bad to shoot cops, and he's a cop, can't shoot cops, and he goes, shit, because they're all still pointing guns at him, so. And then he's able to talk Dolph Lundgren out of it, to not killing him, because wants to do it the right way. Not now, otherwise you'll become scum. So he says, "You gonna kill him?" He says, "No, not today. Maybe later." So they leave, and then Dolph Brendan Lee says another thing to Dolph Lundgren, is like, "Listen, you Zen warrior fucking samurai asshole." So then he gives him the story that he killed his parents, and he says we're gonna do this the right way, right? We're gonna do this right, and it's like a cop in the 20th century and not some warrior. So we're gonna get this guy, and when we're done, we're gonna eat fish off these naked chicks. And this is very fun chemistry between Dolph Lundgren and Brendan Lee. This is so fun back and forth with each other. They did such a great job in this film. I really highly enjoyed their performances, and so then they go to this bathhouse, and they get to another more good fights, and Brendan Lee's getting one guy. Well, he's getting a fight with other people while Dolph Lundgren's fighting with this huge guy, and fighting him with him and getting in the water, and stabs the guy, but he's not dead. So he gets like this hose and shoves it in the guy's mouth, and more shootouts, and then they get out of there. And the girl, Tia Carrere, I'm gonna pronounce her name. She gets like raped by but you don't see it though, by the lead bad guy though. But then she kind of like feels like she's dishonored herself, so she was about to commit suicide, like the Japanese warrior way, like do this. But they go to the house where Dolph Lundgren gets in, shoots more bad guys, and gets her out. So, and then after that, well, after this is where they have to shoot at the house. The bad guys meet together again, and where one guy kind of like failed him, he was going to cut off his finger, but then the late bad guy just goes and stabs him instead. And well, actually, I think it wasn't the thing that the bathhouse happened after that, and after they saved the girl. I'm always getting some certain scenes mixed up though. It's either I think that happened after that, but then once they take the girl and they go to where Dolph Lundgren's place was, and you get to talk with Brendan, with Dolph Lundgren. He's in the hot tub, and the girl strips down, talking to her. Then the next shot, he gets a sex scene, and then more bad guys show up. They find out where they are, and then Brendan Lee, more funny lines that he's like I'm just like, where's asking where the girl is, and she's like, she's in my bedroom. And he's like, oh, I knew that was gonna happen. And he goes, she was frightened. And he said, yeah, I saw you strip down into that tub, but I'll be frightened too. And they're gearing up, and Brendan Lee, of course, he has like another funny line is like, Kenner, in case we get killed, I just want to tell you something. He's saying, you have the biggest tig I've seen on a man. And he's like, thanks. I don't know what to say. How about you don't get killed? It's like, you don't get killed. And he's like, you too. So then Brandon Lee, he's shooting with a shotgun, and then like Dolph Lundgren's throwing some like ninja stuff like ninja stars, and like I think it was like a little sigh, throws at one bad guy, but they get caught and they set the place on fire, and they were gonna get tortured, like getting electrocuted. And also, by the way, I recognize it by the one guy who's doing the electrocuting to Dolph Lundgren and Brendan Lee. The guy who's doing the electrocution, I've seen that guy before. and he was actually in Big Trouble in Little China. He was one of the bad guys. From the from the alley fight. He was one of the bad guys. Have the double doing like the cowboy thing with the guns. And he had like the probably recognize the kids. He had like this little mustache, like short muscles on either side. I recognize that guy. If anyone noticed that him from Big Trouble in China had the guy with the from the alley fight, had the ones with the guns, the double cowboy guns, whatever. And I was like, oh hey, I know him. He was one of the bad guys from Big Trouble in China. So then Dolph Lundgren gets his one arm free and takes the guy and electrocutes him, and they get free. But they were gonna get crushed, but they get set up to be crushed in they get in the car, and they're set up to be, because they're in the junkyard. They're get like the things that flattens cars, and they get put on the conveyor belt. There was another thing with that shreds it. So they managed to break free, and they get out the last second. And then you get another. Then once again, you get another funny line from Dolph Lundgren as they look at the car that's been shredded. He's like, where was that? Because I'm looking up the quotes because I can't remember quotes line from line. Where was that one? Yeah, and like Dolph Lundgren says something, and Brendan Lee's like, "What does that mean?" And Dolph Lundgren says, roughly translated, out of the frying pan and bone up the ass with a hot red poker. So it's just, like I said, it's just, I don't always say how the film is so bad when you get so much fun lines of dialogue from both Brendan Lee and Dolph Lundgren. Lots of action, lots of violence, and it's just like how an action film should be. Yeah, it's supposed to take itself seriously, but it gets to have some fun moments to it to try to lighten the mood with it. But I just don't get it though. The film bombs, so I guess it deserves to be hated. I don't think so. So they said they're gonna play off being dead, to surprise them, and they go back to like their place where it's called like the Red Dragon or something like that, and the whole thing where they're gonna sell like drugs and beer bottles. It was like something where, well, like earlier, where they get these bikers and some other people to show where their drugs are, and the lead bad guy actually cuts one. Like one guy questions the lead bad guy, and the guy just goes and takes a sword and cuts the guy's arm off. He's like, "All we do is like, do we have a deal?" It's like, "Yes, yes." So I guess like the bad guy does not like being judged, so he goes and cuts the guy's arm off. So they go to their place, and they run through the gate, and they're shooting. They run through the wall. More fun shootouts, and then Brendan Lee gets a fight with the guy from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and he's beating up the guy, and he's like, you have the right to remain. You're under arrest. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to an attorney. And then he drops the guy into this thing where they're the brewery type of thing, and then he gets this cigarette lighter, and says, "You have the right to be dead," and throws it in, blows him up, including all the stuff that's in the building, the brewery stuff, and with Dolph Lundgren, he saves Tia Kikar. I don't know how people mispronouncing. I'm probably not good saying Japanese names, I should say. But from being blown up from the gas tanks, and then they chase him to this parade, and they have a face off with the swords, and Dolph Lundgren gets the upper hand and cuts the guy, and then stabs him, saying, "This is for my parents," and throws him and on the parade float, where it's like a spinning thing where shoots a fireworks, sparks, whatever. He gets thrown on that, and he gets spun around, and all of a sudden he gets burst into flames. And then all three of them, they just walk off from the parade, and that's the credits, and that's it. So yeah, I highly enjoy this film. It's such an underrated action film. I don't know why. It just baffles me, I should say. It's fun. It's so fast paced. Two leads that are so fun and enjoyable. I enjoyed the chemistry between them, and Dolph Lundgren and Brendan Lee did excellent jobs in this film. Funny lines of dialogue, violence, and it has lots of action. It keeps the pace going. It's never boring. It doesn't slow down the least bit. It's just boom, and it's from beginning to end all the way until it's done. And it's only 78 minutes without the end credits. I'll probably maybe 73 minutes, maybe. But is that because originally there was supposed to be a much longer, it was supposed to be like about 90 minutes, but they cut a lot of stuff out of it. So that's why it's a much shorter film. Because also they want to give an N17 rating, which reading all the stuff that was been cut out, which honestly I was perfectly fine with, because it's a much shorter film and makes it with all the action, keeps the fast pace going. So, and I thought the Mark L. Lester did a great job with this film, and same with he did with Commando. And he also did a few for the list of films that the guy has done. So he directed so the list of films he's directed. He directed a film. Well, he directed a Stephen King film called Firestarter. But he did Commando. He did Armed and Dangerous. That was one with John Candy and Eugene Levy. He directed Class of 1984, which I haven't seen that film forever, but I remember enjoying it. And then he directed Commando, Armed and Dangerous, Class of 1999, then this film, Extreme Justice, and a whole bunch of other films that I'm not all too familiar with. But towards the last two films he directed was one in 2005 and 2014. One, I know that these two films, the 2005 film, which I have somewhere, he directed a film called Pterodactyl, which I haven't watched it again. I haven't seen that. I basically forgot about it, so maybe it's a good thing, because I remember being bad. I don't know. I think he directed another one called Poseidon Rex, which everyone noticed, like for DVD stuff, I've been collecting some really low budget like dinosaur and shark films, which I'll have to get to the ones I did those on package for. I know they're gonna be, oh my god, they're supposed to be bad, but more rants, and a couple other dinosaur films. So I don't have Poseidon Rex, so I'll have to get that a look. But yeah, I would probably say this after Showdown in Tokyo, the guy hasn't done all that great many films, I'd say. I mean, consider the fact he did Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and this film in Class 1984. Enough said. That's too bad. But I just look at why this is such a fun, entertaining action film. Love Dolph Lundgren, love Brendan Lee. And it's well edited and choreographed for the action scenes. And on the back here, San Francisco Chronicle, a hook for action fans, slick, funny, beautifully shot. So the back there, I agree with that. Definitely for action fans, it got me. Funny, yes. Shot, yeah, beautifully shot. I would say that because it's well handled, it's well edited, and well shot as well. I don't say there's nothing to nitpick at all about this film. I don't see anything to nitpick. I just, although nitpicks I would say is that the menu is probably one of the most laziest menus I've ever seen in my life. Because if you go to the main menu, it just shows a Warner Brother logo, and just has two things: jump to a scene and play movie. This film has no features whatsoever. It just shows that menu is Warner Bros. Logo and then those two things. And that's it. I mean, they don't put the poster for the film on a main menu, and that's. I was just probably I would say it's one of the laziest things I've ever seen from a DVD in my whole life. I guess that's Warner Brothers' fault, but I don't know. I mean, Warner Brothers. To me, I think Warner Brothers is like the studio that has the most flops of all the studios, more than 20th Century Fox and Universal. Because for the films I've looked at for Warner Brothers, they just have so many bombs over the years. I would probably say yeah, Warner Bros. Definitely has the most box office bombs, at least to me, because lots of films I looked up just from Warner Bros. They have whole bunch of flops, especially the big ones, like 2015, for example, in The Heart of the Sea. Sadly, I like that film, but Jupiter Ascending, and there was another Warner Bros. Film I forget though, but still, but and then just in the past so many years, so many flops for Warner Brothers, and if they could put this in a wide release instead of limited, maybe this film would have been a bigger hit. But oh well, probably say it's their fault as well. So, but I love this film. It's just one day I'll have to make a list of my action film, like top 20 action films. I'll definitely put this on there. It's just how could an action film be so fast paced, have lots of action with two great actors and fun lines? I don't see how any action film can be like this. I mean, action films of today are nothing close to compare what this film did all the way back in 1991. And I also forgot to mention, speaking with it, I enjoy the score by David Michael Frank as well. Forgot to mention that. I do enjoy the score to this. But yeah, I don't know more I can say. I keep on saying the same things over and over. If anyone does not see this film, I highly advise to check this film. I definitely give it 2 thumbs up. And for anyone who's a fan of Dolph Lundgren or Brendan Lee, Cary, Hiroyuki Tagawa, I think was a good bad guy. Tia Carrere, wow, I must keep pronouncing the name. I thought she was fine as well. Doesn't hold back on the violence, on the action. Scores well made, easily fast paced. Like I said, I keep on saying the same things, and I also would say it has a fair amount of nudity in it for everyone likes us to hurt things, but definitely give this a watch. Just for as an action film, it's definitely worth a watch. And it's also one of my favorite films from Dolph Lundgren. But yeah, that's my review for Showdown Low Tokyo. And I was thought the same thing else, but I'm just pausing again. Because I keep on repeating the same things over and over, so. But yeah, my review for Showdown Low Tokyo. Definitely an action film that's worth having and worth watching. But thanks for watching, and stay tuned on the next movie review. Later.